Ola electric scooters worth rupees 1100 crore have been sold in the past couple of days. This is a record that the company has achieved till now, according to owner Bhavesh Agarwal. This also puts the Indian electric vehicle market to the forefront and all that it has in store for us. As a market that is largely untapped, where can we see the future of electric vehicles in India, and what are the challenges that are posed in this particular sector? I'm sure there are many opportunities and a number of challenges as well. We will explore them with our esteemed panelists. Joining me on the show is Abhijit Sinha, Director, National Highway for EV and Director, Ease of Doing Business in EV electric vehicles. Tutu Dhawan, automobile expert, is also joining us on this very interesting conversation. Ankit Kumar, Managing Partner, Alternative Global India, EV Management Consulting Firm, is also here with us. Professor Aman Agarwal, Senior Economist, also joins us on the show. And last but by no means the least, Mr. Amit Kumar, Executive Director and CEO of Benling India, is also here with us. Mr. Dhawan, let me start by asking you a simple question. One man's loss is always another man's gain. I was discussing offhand with some of my colleagues that, the electric market is buzzing because petrol prices also have skyrocketed in the last few days. And this perhaps seems to be a result of just that. Although there is a seepage, there is an inclination towards going green by a number of individuals. But what explains this, unprecedented phenomena of 1100 crore rupees of sales being done in just a couple of days by an electric scooter?
I think I got to congratulate them for having sold 11,000 worth of scooters, but I am a little skeptical about how long this electric vehicle philosophy is going to last. It's very good and looks very hunky-dory at the moment that you don't have to spend money for petrol. Petrol is skyrocketing, as you know, and you are now trying to get your electricity from your home and obviously from your workspace. So that will obviously give you a lot of economic benefit. But the fact is, how long is this freedom going to last? I don't know. Everybody initially they all give big promises of 180 kilometers and so on and so forth. But eventually what you get on road is the exact thing that one comes across. And that takes time. And as you also know that two-wheelers have been in the market now since almost 2 decades. And they have never been able to capture the actual market, which the two-wheelers are selling at the moment in petrol. So this new introduction will definitely give a lot of impetus to the electric vehicle. But I still have a question mark as to what is going to be the final verdict of electric when you start actually using electric and you don't have power. Secondly, if you are stuck with electric vehicles in a traffic jam, of course in two-wheelers I don't think it's going to be too much of a problem. But when you are stuck in a traffic jam in a four-wheeler with the air conditioner on, I don't know how long people are going to keep looking for electric vehicles then. And similarly, when you start scrapping them, what is going to happen to the batteries? The toxins which get taken out from the batteries, how are you going to dispose them of?
Okay.
They cannot be put into the sea or into the air or into the earth, because that is again an environmental problem.
Okay, let's see how the other panelists respond to this particular event that has transpired in the last couple of days. Abhijit Sinha, where do you stand on this? Are you optimistic that this is a sign of a trajectory of growth towards the future, or do you think that this will also bring along a set of problems, according to Mr. Dhawan, which we haven't computed for right now?
Thank you for having me here, and I believe this particular notion which Ola has set in the market is definitely going to rise. And I congratulate, I have already complimented Bhavesh on Twitter and has invited him to not only keep vehicles limited to cities, but also to look on tier 2, tier 3 and rural economics of India. These electric vehicles which we are talking about are definitely far simple in terms of technology than IC engines. But the difficult part which electric vehicle has faced through is its tough competition with IC engines. And to an extent, IC lobby has also been responsible for pulling it down at several moments and several stages. But now when the simplicity, when the technology is being evaluated between both of them, the IC and the EV is far simple. There could be very, very less reason for an EV to not to perform at this stage. And rightly Mr. Dharan said that there are challenges related to availability of power, related to range, and I believe all these are already taken care in two-wheelers. There are exchangeable batteries which you can take to any of your floor where you stay, and there are battery banks, quick intercharge stations. For two-wheeler, three-wheeler, this all problems are becoming past. Even a large battery pack can charge many two-wheelers, three-wheelers for up to 72 hours.
Okay.
It can be powered from the solar also. So technically, we are not in challenge in two-wheeler or three-wheeler. We are still struggling on highway for four-wheeler battery exchange. It's not yet very friendly in technological terms. But to me, what challenge Ola is going to face now is cities are already very, very crowded. No more, space for new vehicles, and particularly people who are buying vehicle in two-wheeler in metro cities and in the crowded cities are not that much in India as potential we have in tier 2 and tier 3 rural and town economics. In town economics, there are two very quick prescriptions which I give to all two-wheeler for ease of doing business is cost of ownership should be very, very simply explained to the buyer for the decision of purchasing. Second, the comparison between per kilometer which they have, which Ola claims or which any two-wheeler or any electric mobility vehicle manufacturer claim in per se in comparison to IC engine, these two need to reach to the rural market. We cannot expect for a system where a gaon wala chura and gaon wala ladka has to come to Delhi and he has to understand the cost economics into showroom. Then he has to go back to his village. He has to explain this to his tau that this time I'm not going to buy an engine, diesel or petrol wala bike. I'm going to buy a battery wala bike. The decision is still lies with the parents in our country, and that transition is very, very crucial. So I welcome Ola to work with us on National Highway EV, to work on each charging station which we have, Agra, Mathura, Vrindavan, Behror and other part of between Delhi, Jaipur and Delhi, Agra. And each station are going to have 20 two-wheelers. Will definitely extend all my support on behalf of ease of doing business for this transition.
Okay, Ankit Kumar, in your opinion, what kind of a support should be shown? What kind of a policy support on behalf of the government should be shown? Because, this event is huge in terms of the way people perceive electric vehicles and what we perceive of, these technological advancements, which are definitely necessary in the face of rising petrol prices.
Sure. Thank you for having me on the show. The sort of thing that has happened today is phenomenal, and I must congratulate Bhavesh and the entire team of Ola for that. Now, if you see how that has happened, it's not an event which is just triggered by one simple thing. It's triggered by a lot of things, and the consumer behavior has gone towards it. And I have been saying on multiple occasions, the technology is something that will drive the entire mobility and the future of mobility in India. And that exactly has happened out here. So combining with this package policy that came in, which allowed the users to get a better incentive on the older vehicles, to having a vehicle which can actually compete with the ICE vehicle on ground today. The combined thing that Ola brought in the market is something that I've seen 3 years back. I've literally driven the scooter 3 years back in Netherlands once when they went and acquired Itego. And it's a scooter which can deliver performance at peak. And the sort of support that has already been extended by the government of India, it's quite high. So I don't think there should be any more support that should be provided in context of increasing the further penetration of this. But yeah, I agree with Abhijit. There are certain bottlenecks that would certainly come. And as a startup, as a company into the mobility domain, people have to learn to work with the problems and try to solve those problems. And they will certainly come out with solutions on those lines. But EV two-wheelers as such do not face a lot of range issues because of the multiple other technological advancements which have happened over years, the battery swapping, the fast charging, the flash charging, etc. now coming into place, which allows you to charge in 5 minutes, allows you to charge in 10 minutes, and people have time for it. And people have been quite patient enough using the gasoline vehicles, the petrol vehicles, so they are willing to go on ground. They are willing to go and put a bet on somebody who is putting up hard efforts in terms of bringing a better technology to the market. So yeah, I don't feel that there is another push which is required. The current policies of FAME2, the scrappage, combined with the state government policies are enough to make this push, and we can see how this is all being translated.
Professor Aman Agarwal, your thoughts on this, and how is this going to likely impact the economy in a positive way as well? There has been a debate about electric vehicles and electrical energy, which has found its own impediments, its own roadblocks. But considering the response that we have seen from people towards Ola scooters, what's your take on the matter?
You see, first of all, embracing a new technology is always a game which is being played. But the industry has never been really welcoming new technologies for a long time. I remember driving the solar car way back in 1984-85 in Switzerland, and we still have not seen a solar car as a reality, whereas the technology was, as I said, I drove one myself way back in 84-85. So, and then I've spoken to a large number of manufacturers in the past, but they have been happy with fuel-based cars, that's petrol and diesel, because they've already spent a lot of money in terms of the R&D, and they want to encash it for a long time, and so they don't want to change. Here also, what we saw a change today is not a change because it was something which is very desired, or they wanted to innovate, or they wanted to create a new market. It is more because there is a forced decision by the government of Delhi and the NCR region, plus the scrapping policy, wherein the NGT order of 10-year-old and 15-year-old vehicles has been reinstated by the court and the Delhi NCR government, Delhi government and specifically being implemented in Delhi NCR, stating that all such vehicles, and most of the transportation vehicles, whether it is commercially used or used for cab services, have been found to be more than actually 15, 20 years old, most of them. And as a result, most companies which are actually running on them have no choice but to move on to a newer mode of technology if they want to go ahead. And buying a diesel vehicle, which used to be one of the fashionable engines for most transportation companies, is no longer a first choice, because the life, as per the government of India, has been contained to 10 or 20 years, depending on which policy gets into place in which state. Now, the second component which is there is that the EV vehicle, as I said, is a new technology, and certainly we must embrace. People are willing to take chances and embrace it. But then there are impediments thereupon. Some have been highlighted, like the where do you scrap the batteries? It's already a big challenge for the kind of batteries which have been produced in the last 70 years by four-wheelers and heavy-duty vehicles as well. As to discharging them, throwing them off has been a challenge till date. Recycling them has not been a clear-cut outlay. So when we are going to create more waste of such batteries, what do we do with them, as has been highlighted already? The second is, when we're talking of electricity, it looks nice. You see, the cost of electricity is not cheap. Secondly, this electricity which we are getting in India and in large part of the world either comes from burning of coal, or it comes from nuclear-based energy sources as well. In India, largely from coal. Now, that is also not a renewable source. So when you're talking of electricity being used to again feed these vehicles, we are again polluting the environment, which was the main concern of introducing these vehicles, was to reduce the impact on environment. Whereas that impact doesn't get reduced because you're going to charge it on the electricity which is coming from a non-renewable source and which is also creating pollution. in different ways. Nuclear waste is also non-destructible, non-supplyable. In fact, when we did a study about 20 years back, studying the nuclear waste stuff, the nuclear waste, one barrel of nuclear waste, if it is put under the sea and it is kept there, and if unfortunately it explodes, almost to the tune of about 1 lakh kilometers of habitation will disappear and will never appear again in that portion of land or sea, wherever that kind of a nuclear waste exports. So, these are not something which we are looking at a long-term solution as terms of technological advancement. Certainly, it's a new kick. People would love to have it. It's a fashionable thing there today. It's in economics, because certainly when you have no option, then you have no option but to go to EV-based vehicles, and that's what is going to force large number of people. But then these concerns will certainly go on. The other last concern which is there is, in most countries, including countries like Japan and others, have actually given a huge subsidy to get EV vehicles up on the road. Whereas the government of India so far has not given any subsidy. Certainly, if you scrap an old vehicle, you get 5%. Getting a certification of that nature is a difficult job in itself. And then getting that 5%
All right.
is also...
Okay, let me also rope in Amit Kumar.
Let me just complete one second. We have been trying to get solar panels on our institutional campus, and most people, companies which are wanting to put them up, say there is a subsidy from government, but we will not initiate that because that subsidy never comes from the government.
Okay, all right, understood. Point taken, Professor Agarwal. Amit, I want you to come in on this. Your reactions to what has happened. And obviously, this is a positive sign, but according to Professor Agarwal, this also has its own set of challenges. Perhaps we need to give this technology more time.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Okay, first of all, and what we all are discussing about Ola is a big thing happened already. Okay, and this will set a trend in the industry. I'm here from last 3.5 years in EV industry. I have never seen this kind of a thing happening. But remember this thing, this had not happened overnight. They have been working very hard from last 2 years. So whatever they have done, you just consider these figures that they have done in last 7 to 8 months. It is not a one-day figure. No company in India can achieve this kind of a number in one day. It is a hard work of last 1.5 years. Please understand that. Right now, I will tell you what Sir was telling about the incentive. The practical problem with the incentive is that the process is very lengthy. The entire process takes around 2 to 3 months for an OEM to sell a vehicle and get the subsidy, and till the time the money is blocked in the government's hand. Please understand, a normal company, a small company like us, or a medium-sized company, because every company is a medium-sized company right now is EV. So imagine the subsidy amount is around 40,000 rupees, and if I am aiming at a 10,000 figure, you multiply it by 40,000 rupees, every month this much money is stuck up, and I get this money after 3 months. So you see the big difference. This is one big hurdle. What I personally feel that, government is giving subsidy, it is very good. But it should divide the subsidy, maybe 50% to a customer who is buying it, or 50% to the channel partner, or maybe some 30% should go to the OEMs. Because OEMs should not invest this much of money only for subsidy. Actually, let me tell you, the price of electric vehicle is very high. But we are selling it at very, very less price because of the subsidy. And if these practical problems are not solved, till when these OEMs will sell and till what level they can sell, this is a very big problem. Now you understand one more thing, like the two-wheeler industry is around 50 lakhs a month, okay? And if you divide it into the segments like scooter, motorcycle, scooter segment is selling at 5 lakhs. So I personally foresee in next 2.5 years, this segment will have a very big hit by EV. So 5 lakhs, I personally think that 5 lakhs, around 3.5 lakhs will be converted to EV. This is my personal understanding. In motorcycle, you have 100cc contributing around 10 lakhs a month. That segment will have a very big hit, because these all two segments are falling in economy segments where customer is every day worried about petrol prices, every day. I mean, he's the kind of a customer who earns less than 50,000. So even 100 rupees, 150 rupees a day is a big problem for him. Okay, and one gentleman, sir, was telling that EV has a limitation of range. I agree and I accept. But not all customers ride 100 kilometers a day. Please understand your customer's need. EV customers are not every customer. There are, this
Correct.
is right now. So maybe a customer, somebody, a housewife going to, pick her children, going to buy veggies and comes back to home. Maybe she rides maybe 20, 30 kilometers. A student maybe 40 kilometers. So we have to focus initially on those customers who are riding below 80 kilometers a day. You cannot grab all the market in one day. So let's focus on customers who are looking at economy, less range. Start with this, and then later on you can technology will advance. We can have better batteries, bigger power, more speed. Everything can come in.
But isn't it carbon credit is a better way to give subsidy?
Okay, hold on. Mr. Dhawan, you want to respond to this? Obviously, there is going to be some pessimism involved in terms of the environmental factors that the EV industry set out to conquer, but in the process will have a large share of environmental worries as well that they'll need to combat with.
Yes, Vireek, I think that is one of my main concerns. We people don't see beyond our nose, but we have to start working out on the long-term basis of how these vehicles are going to become economical, plus how they are going to be environmental friendly.
Correct.
And as one of my panelists already has explained, the power that you are going to use for charging these batteries is again coming out of polluting the atmosphere, environment. So these are concerns, and I guess when time comes, we will be able to face them and face the hurdles also.
Absolutely. But, at the end of it, it's perhaps going to be a toss-up between which is the lesser evil of the two. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. Unfortunately, that's all the time we had, but congratulations once again to all those people who are involved in the EV industry and how it has made major gains today.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.